Yep, we are live. We are up. Thanks for being here, Fitz. How's it going?
I am having a spectacular day, Chris. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah. Like I said before we started going here, I read about your background. I'm one of these health people. I guess you could say health and fitness. I've always loved it. It's been part of my lifestyle ever since. Basically, I feel like coming out the womb. So I feel like you and I would have had a great conversation, just kind of going based on that and just the other things that the audience will learn about as we
Yeah.
talk tonight. But before we go too far, I'll give you the why don't you give the audience a little gist, a little background, just so they kind of know who you are, and then we'll take it from there.
For sure. So I am noisy, I am bossy, and I use those skills to help people live better and longer by making fitness understandable, attainable, and fun. I'm not someone who works in a gym setting. I help people do better and be better through mass media. All the work I do is big picture. So TV, radio, books, magazines, online presence. I do a lot of corporate keynote speaking. I'm a professional race announcer. And so I host some of the largest, most iconic running events on earth, dozens every year.
Nice.
And I make happy noise for people. That's probably the most fun thing I do. And then I am an author. And most excitingly right now is my cancer comeback series, where I am helping cancer patients go from sick to strong.
Cool. Yeah, there's a bunch of things in there I want to talk about. So the first thing, I know read that you're a race announcer. And so are we talking about like Spartan races, Boston Marathon announcers? Like what?
So my marquee events are the Los Angeles Marathon, Big Sur Marathon, Buffalo Marathon, Detroit Free Press. I mean, dozens. I run Boston. I have not announced it. Oh. I adore Spartan races and Tough Mudders and Savage. I do not announce for them, although I have announced obstacle course races. My real forte or my sweet spots are major marathons. And so you will find me at a lot of big time marathons, and those marathon weekends have shorter distances. So it's 26.2 and then a half and a 5K, 10K, kids races, dogs, babies, the whole gamut. And I host everything. If I show up, I make sure I take care of 100% of our athletes from the start to the finish.
How'd you get involved in announcing for that? I mean, is that something you always loved? And
so I'm a sport performance expert, and I was virtually Run Disney's fitness expert. So whenever they had a race, they would invite me in to come speak at their expo on strength training for runners and pain prevention and management, a whole bunch of strength and conditioning / fitness topics. And their race announcer, so they have my favorite race announcer on earth. His name is Rudy Novotny. He's got a big booming voice, and he's got charisma for days, and people love him, and he makes the experience very fun. And so I was a big fan of his, and he also was in charge of announcing speakers at the expo. And every time I spoke, he was very complimentary. And then one time he just said, you know what, I need a co-announcer for the OC Marathon in California in May. Are you interested? Which is Orange County. And I said, well, sure, I've never done it before, but I'd love to give it a try. And so he connected me with the race director who looked at my resume. We had a brief conversation. He hired me. I showed up. Rudy was right. It fit like a glove. It was one of the most fun things I've ever done. And about an hour after yelling go on marathon morning, the race director came over and said, can you come back next year? And from what I hear, that was the fastest rehire. And things have spun out of control in the most incredible way with race announcing. I mean, I literally get to be the ringleader of the fun for sometimes 30,000+ people. It's awesome. So good. And I'm obsessed with these people. I just love every last one of them. I respect the speedsters. I worship the back of the pack. It's just delightful from start to finish.
Yeah, it sounds badass. And I've never runner until probably 6 months ago. And I kind of believe in doing hard things and challenging yourself. And I've always been one of these CrossFit bros for like the last 10 years or so. Right.
Love.
And so I wanted to run a half marathon. I had the opportunity to do one, and I decided it was a 3-person triathlon. I want to do the half marathon part.
Okay.
I knew it would challenge me. I knew I was not a runner, but I knew it would keep me, what's the word am I looking for? Stimulated, keep me going,
Yeah.
keep things exciting for me. And just the small community that I did it right there, it was so much fun. And like the people who were in there, just, I mean, I couldn't imagine what it's like doing like like you said, the OC Marathon or the Los Angeles. Just
So good.
as many people are
It's
there and the excitement and just the community in general, I guess.
Well, it's funny. I mean, as a fitness expert, my whole career, I've had to spend, an infinite amount of energy twisting people's arms, saying, please exercise. Exercise is good for you. Exercise, exercise. But on race day, an organization, LA Marathon, I go, they say, here's 27,000 people that think exercising is a great idea.
For
Make sure
sure.
they know what to do, where to go, and make sure they have a hell of a good time doing it. And it's the best of humanity. These people are showing up to do something great for their health, which is what we wish everybody would do, right?
Right.
And then they're working to support their communities and great causes. And then on race day, there's no race, there's no religion, there's none of that. It's just everybody, the running community, which includes walkers, strictly walkers, everybody's so nice to each other.
Mhm.
It's just a perfect experience with perfect people. I don't even believe in perfect, but I mean, how fortunate am I? These people are so good, and they're out there, and they're working so hard, and they're overcoming so much, and they're so gritty.
Oh,
And by the time they get to the finish line, either they're bursting with joy or they're melting down with tears because they've done something so, phenomenal for whatever purpose they were after. It's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing.
yeah, it's a good camaraderie just because even though if you're one of these guys who is a fire breather trying to, PR your marathon time, but like
Hmm.
you said, you have a ton of people out there who are walking to the
Yeah.
aspect. I mean, but you're all in it together in some fashion, right? And then it's like respectful that way. That who cares if this is your first time running, if whatever is your first day, but it's just hey, we're doing this together. It's me and you. Yeah, I might go sprint a little bit farther or faster than you, but hey, at the end of the hey, stop. At the end of the day, I'll give you a heads
Hmm.
up and it's all good. And like that, just having that, knowing that you're not being outcast, I guess, and you're being
No.
accepted into the community, no matter what your fitness level is. Like it just takes the whole stress off your shoulders, I feel like.
I think so. And the further back you are, the more embraced you are by everybody else. So there's the elites, right? The people that come in from Kenya
Right.
or wherever, they're college, and they come, and those are the people who start off at the front. They don't engage much with with most of our athletes,
For
and
sure.
they blow through the course. And then some of them won't even put their hands up at the finish. They look at their watch, they grab their check, and they get out of there, right? And good for them. I admire their athleticism. But then there's the rest of us, and it's just, I don't know. I think it just gets better and better. And these speedsters will tell you it's way harder to be a 7-hour marathoner than it is a 3-hour marathoner. Just that time on your feet and the amount of mental fortitude it takes from go to point A, point B, and just be out there for so long is so demanding. So yeah, it's infinite respect in both directions.
Mm. So have you been a runner or is this something
Yeah.
that you like all your life or what?
You know what? Running has always been something I've done for exercise. So I was a soccer player, and I cheered, and I did all sorts of sports. And you always have to run, right?
Sure.
When I was in high school and I wanted to try and lose some weight, I would go running. And so running has always been this really quality form of exercise, requires little to no equipment. And what do I need? I need good shoes and a sports bra. And yeah, so I can say I'm a lot slower than I look. People look at my lean, wiry body and they're like, she's so fast. I know I'm a big deal on the microphone. I'm not a big deal on the course. I go like everybody else, I just plug along, but I've done every distance from tiny distances up to marathons. And really what I enjoy participating in the most is obstacle course races. I love mud. I love dirt.
Yeah.
I laugh so much during those races. And it
Mm.
sounds like you do them as well.
Yeah, so I did my first trifecta for Spartan this year too. And like as I did my half marathon, I was like kind of looking for, wait, what's next? What's next? And then I had some friends at my gym who do the Spartan races and they're like, hey, go do this one next since you already done this. I was like, yeah, sure, for sure. Why not? And yeah, I've done a Tough Mudder, but well, maybe 5 years
Oh,
ago, but it was pretty fun. Go ahead.
I think Tough Mudder is the funnest. That's my
But
favorite brand. I think it's, people walk between obstacles, and then, you need partners to get through many of the obstacles. And of
yes.
course, being a smaller woman out there, people are just dragging me. If I fall in a mud thing, there's three people, they just fling me out of
Yeah.
Bring me out of the mud pit like a rag doll. So I think they're very, very fun. I did Spartan Montana this year and Spartan Pocono. So I've been or Tough Mudder Pocono. So I've been getting on a plane to go play now.
Nice. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, those were new to me and, it was something different, like I said, and it was fun, you got to do the 3-mile one, I think there's a 6-mile and then
Yeah.
the beast, which is the 13, and yeah, you get little obstacles in between and you just run and then you can just sit there and chat and, just chat up with one of your friends while you're sitting there waiting to go on whatever's
Yeah.
next. And like we were talking about camaraderie and stuff, people were in there just like you said, helping you out, like, "Hey, you need help getting over this wall? I'll give you a
Yeah.
boost." And like, it's like, "Oh, this is just for fun." It's not I mean, I'm sure there are people who are out there, like you just said, like, "Give me my check," or whatever, and
Yeah. Take it
oh,
very seriously.
yeah, and I get that. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'm not knocking that, but,
And I think for our listeners who have never done one of these obstacle course races, know that if you fail on one of the obstacles, you can't lift the thing or flip the tire or whatever it is, hang and do the monkey bars. You just pass it by. They have a suggested burpee corner, but I can tell you that I have completely ignored those burpee corners on many occasions. Like if I fall or whatever, I just keep going. Some days I'll do the burpee. Sometimes I just think, screw it, I don't want to. And you don't have to. You can walk the whole way
yeah.
and you can still have a great time. And there's all sorts of different body types out there and fitness levels. It's
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're judges, quote unquote. I don't really think are out there to humiliate you and just
No,
yeah, make sure that you actually get there. Not the ones I've done anyway. Could be some, but yeah, they're out there not to belittle you by any means. So I think
no,
others
no.
just hey, you're out here trying, get after it, man. Keep going. So yeah, but yeah, I've done that. I've done the Savage race and the Tough Mudder and the Spartans, and they're all good times. I mean,
Yes.
no matter however you want to tackle it. I've just only tackled them just to go and enjoy myself and
Yeah.
maybe down the road, maybe try to do the elite division. I don't
Oh,
know.
wow.
We'll
Okay.
see. I don't know, but it was just something new, and so why not? Why not try new things? Like we said earlier, try new things. And
Absolutely.
Peter Attia, he's a doctor, and I heard him on a podcast maybe a couple years ago, and ever since then, it was like, don't go out there and just run a marathon if you've never ran anything in your life, but challenge yourself a little bit every day. And he says that's the key to longevity. And ever since I've heard that, I was like, cool, like and these little battles every day, like hey,
Yeah.
challenge yourself, do something hard.
So I know we're going to get into this soon, but I'm going to include the obstacle course race because I think it's relevant now. So in 2019, I was diagnosed with cancer and I did 15 months of chemo and I had some surgery and a whole bunch of radiation within that 15 months. But 15 months of chemo is a very long time. Spent a very long time being very sick. But towards the end of my chemo, I started coming out of the fog and making efforts to walk further and swim and so forth. And so I finished chemo on May 11th, 2020. And thank God for Florida being the freedom state, because on June 11th, Spartan came to Jacksonville and where the whole world was shut down, Spartan's like, nope, we're going to let people play outside and have athletic fun in the sun. And so I went in and I asked my surgeon, I said, get my port out because I want to do a Spartan race. And he looked at me and he said, okay, you just put tape over it. So I got this port out and put this big tape over, and it had rained wildly that week. And those trails were flooded. I was in waist deep water for probably a mile and a half. I only did the 5K.
Nice.
But for me, that was a very big deal at the time. And, I just laughed so hard the whole way. It was such a reward to be out being adventurous again and living as opposed to just trying to survive. And man, I think maybe I was able to do about 20% of the obstacles successfully, but I clearly was the slowest person on the whole course, the whole day. I'm positive of it, but I had more fun than everybody else. I was so freaking proud. And so if little old olive oil, like recent cancer patient can do a Spartan or a Tough Mudder, then y'all can too.
Mm. So it was breast cancer, correct?
Correct.
And leading up to this, I mean, did you just go to the doctor one day and you found something, or did you kind of have signs going on? I mean, let's get the spectrum so everyone kind of knows.
Yeah, good question. So I was having annual mammograms just because I'm neurotic about all the annual exams, and whoever you are, go get them. Go get your skin checked and your eyes and your prostate and whatever you get, whatever you're supposed to get checked. But in December of 2018, I went in for a mammogram. It was sparkling clean. There was nothing there, nothing. 7 weeks later, I got out of a shower at a race weekend and I rubbed my underboob and I found a lump. I knew exactly what it was. I called the doctor right away. They said, "Come in." And I said, "Well, I'm running a race, so I can come in Monday." But within a week or so, I was told that not only did I have a size E tumor in that left breast, but it had already spread to the lymph nodes. And so
Mm.
7 weeks, if I had waited for my next mammogram, I'd be dead. This thing was spreading through me like a wildfire. It was very, very aggressive. So I'm very grateful. I rubbed my underboob and I found that lump, and it was scary. But within a couple of weeks, my doctor was able to assure me he was going to cure me. He just said it's going to take a little while, and it did.
So you found the lump and then you went and raced anyway. I mean, were you worried? I mean, what was your mindset like?
You know what? I'm really good at not stressing over milk that hasn't spilled yet. And so if there's potential bad news, I won't
Right.
I won't fret over it because, if you tell me it's bad news, and okay, maybe I'll get upset. But yeah, I didn't tell anyone. I told the doctors, those are the only people that needed to know. And then I was there to have a good time and run a race. And I wasn't going to let potential cancer ruin my weekend. What if they had said, this is just a house vacation or whatever? Then I would have wasted my weekend being whiny and emotional. And so I waited until they said, yeah, this looks like a scary tumor and it looks like it's spread to your lymph nodes, to start crying.
Have you always been that way? Not to how'd you put it? Like not cry over spilt milk or what? I can't remember how you put it, but just or did you have to learn that through life? Because I have tons of people in my life that I know who, if there's a chance of being a problem, all of a sudden they create their own, create their own
Yes.
demons or create their own problems in their head.
Yeah.
And then it comes out to, kind of what you were just saying, just comes out to be like, it really wasn't that bad. We're good here. Like, why did I worry
Yeah.
so much?
So I was born with a naturally sunny disposition. I choose
Nice.
joy. I'm a joy addict. And that's really where I'd rather be at all times. And that's really
Sure.
where I am most of the times. But I do think you learn there's people who role model really good behavior and people who role model really bad behavior. And when I see people just wasting days with worry that you cannot, it just doesn't benefit you. Fretting,
Correct.
there is no benefit. There's certain things that eat you alive. I get it. There's big deal stuff, and cancer certainly was a big eat me alive type stressor for a while. But yeah, there's no reason to worry. Doesn't help. So yeah, I definitely learned it. I've made decisions. I have the natural instinct, but I'm not going to give up my joyful days if necessary, if I can help it.
That's smart. And I love hearing that just because, like I told you, there's so many people who I know that just instantly it's always gloom and doom, no matter what it is, and it's just like, damn, bro, like you ain't heard anything yet, man, or just like we don't even know what it's going to be like tomorrow. You do easy, man, and I think it's so easy to focus on the negative and look at it like rather than positive, right? What is that quote or whatever? It's like it's always easy to remember everything negative in your life, but when you try to think about anything that's good happened, the negative outweighs the positive, or something like that.
So the three books I have out. The first one's a memoir. It's called My Noisy Cancer Comeback, and that's just the tale of when cancer collided with 30 something race weekends worth of travel. I never missed a minute of work. I never missed out on those planes. I never wore a mask. I never hid. I kept going. But before cancer, my mantra used to be, well, it's not cancer. And so whether I was in a car accident or someone lost a job or whatever, I say, well, it's not cancer, right? And in fact, I'm that annoying person that when I'm in a traffic cause a jam for the rest of us, right? There's someone who's having a real freaking bad day up there. Why am I going to be whiny about being delayed? And so it's not cancer. And then for me, all of a sudden it was. And I thought, oh God, well, is this my time to get upset? Now, again, I'm human. I definitely shed a lot of tears over the
Sure.
stress and suffering from cancer. However, what fairly quickly happened is once my doctor assured me I was not dying anytime soon, um, I I just rationalized. I said, okay, well, I'm not a kid with cancer. I mean, we all see that these little 3-year-olds and the commercials are on TV and you're thinking, oh
Yes.
my gosh, can you imagine? And so my new mantra became, well, I'm not a kid with cancer and it's not my kid with cancer. So I'm going to put on my big girl panties and get through it. And I did. And so, my refrigerator literally just broke tonight. And what
Yeah.
did I say? I said, it's not cancer, so we make choices.
Yeah. So finding out that so the audience goes, finding out you have cancer and you're going
Yeah,
into it after the race. How long is it when you start chemotherapy? And I think you said you went through 15 months of it.
I did.
Yeah, and I think if I read correctly, I mean you lost your hair too
I
with
did.
and just I mean, what was that experience like? I mean, being yourself and being athletic and running and doing all these badass things, and all of a sudden, I know we're not crying over spilt milk here, but I mean,
Right.
for me, it's got to be like I would think I'm
It was a very big deal.
yes.
Yeah, it was a very big deal. It was very traumatizing. So I think I was diagnosed, like officially, they said February 28th. So I found it on like the 21st, and I was diagnosed on like 28th. And then I think I started chemo March 10th. So I had maybe 2.5 weeks between lump and chemo. And you know what? It was scary because with the first chemo, you're fearing the unknown,
Of course.
and not everybody responds the same. They gave me a particularly miserable concoction of drugs. In fact, my doctor said it's the most toxic combination of chemo drugs they give anyone.
Damn.
4 different drugs, and they give it to you one after another. And so I was hoping to respond like some of my friends, just being tired and mousy. So I got chemo on Monday. Tuesday, I felt kind of tired, but I was okay. Wednesday, I felt kind of mousy, but I was okay. Thursday, stuff hit the fan. And from Thursday forward, every day looked like a violent stomach bug or
Mm.
food poisoning, if you can imagine. I was exploding. I was so sick. I had to do IV fluids every weekday for 5 months. So it was pretty intense. Losing my hair was very stressful and sad. And I had waist length long hair my whole life.
Wow.
And it didn't define me. On occasion, someone would be like, oh, your hair is your trademark. And I thought, no, my noise, my bossiness, my knowledge, that's my trademark. But I did love my hair, and much of it fell out on the finish line stage at the Los Angeles Marathon. It just was coming out and blowing all over. It was this long blonde hair everywhere on my black stage. It looked like the
Oh,
stage had hair. It was like it was a rug. And it was very dramatic and traumatic. I did a lot of crying mixed with laughing and smiling. I didn't want any of my runners to know what was going on, but I wore sunglasses and I just coped with it as I flew home. I have a daughter, and she had said, please don't shave your head without me. So while I was in Los Angeles, boy, on that finish line stage, I was thinking, oh my gosh, if I could just get a barber to come out here and shave my head, I'd let him do it right there. But I couldn't because I promised her. And then I got on the plane, and that Delta airplane was covered with hair all around my seat, which was chaos. And then as soon as I got home, I had already asked my hairstylist. She came over to my house, and 20 minutes after I walked through the door from my flight home from California, she shaved my head in my kitchen. And I did some crying,
mhm.
and I covered my eyes like a chicken. And at some point, my son, who was 13 at the time, he said, oh, mommy, you look cute bald. And I thought, okay, thank you. So I
Well,
didn't feel really cute, but that helped. That helped.
of course it does. Yeah. I mean, this is no way in related to you. I mean, I lost started losing my hair just from male pattern baldness
Yeah.
a little after college, and it wasn't. I never had any like luscious locks of hair like you were talking about, but it was just like, wow, I'm 24 and I'm losing my hair, and it made me feel weird. But it really
Yes.
wasn't like we were just been saying. It really wasn't a big deal. It just part of how it was. It just runs in my family. It's just how it goes.
Wow. You
But
know what? I do have a soft spot for people with alopecia,
yes.
right? And male pattern baldness. And it's interesting. Before I lost my hair, I actually went wig shopping. I thought maybe I'll wear a wig. I'll go try some on. I thought it would be a fun way to get my kids involved and try to make it a fun day. And
Hmm.
when I tried them on, I thought they looked weird. I thought they felt weird, but they made me sad. And I just thought, you know what? I'm not going to make myself any sadder than I am. And men don't hide their bald heads. Men Like, I think it's super hot, super manly, a bald head or a crew cut. I like a tight hairdo, if any. And so then I just thought, well, screw it. I'm not going to hide my bald head either. If I'm going to be bald, so be it. Now, I definitely thought it was alarming how cold my head got, or, when the air condition hits your head, you think,
Yes.
God almighty, I was constantly ducking and hiding from fans and AC units. But yeah, because of you look great bald. I thought, well, maybe I could look okay bald too. And I'm not sure if I did, but I did my best.
Yeah, I'm sure that's all it matters. You do your best, but I don't guess my uncle would mind this, but he's in his early 70s and he was just diagnosed with alopecia, and which was weird. I thought that it happened so late in life, and he's dealing with it great. I mean, he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever, just it's life. I'm old anyway. It's just hair, no big deal. But and I don't even know if that's hereditary in our family, but is breast cancer, was that something that was goes on with your family, or I mean,
Yeah, it was not. I don't have any genetic predisposition.
wow.
I have, there's someone in my family, but the doctor says no, that person's not relevant to your case. I'm a fluke, but breast cancer is 1 in every 8 women in North America,
No.
and I'm not sure what's going on. They believe it could be nutritional, environmental, and perhaps one day they'll have an answer for it. But 1 in 8, that's rampant. That's a real
Exactly.
flipping problem. Now, fortunately, so many people got sick of losing their mothers and their wives and their sisters and their daughters that this is one of the most high profile, high funded cancers on earth. And people got mad and they kind of fixed the problem. So 94% of all breast cancer cases are curable, which are really good odds. The only problem is when you're dealing with 1 in 8 women, that 6% is still far too much. But definitely, I have a lot of people in the past to thank for getting angry and funding research, or I might not be here.
Yeah, it's so odd that, 1 in 8, that I didn't know it was that what's the word am I looking for? That
Rampant.
yeah, there you go, that was what you said. Yeah, but, and like you said, environmentally or even nutritionally, just because and like with you with yourself, I mean, it seems like you've had a healthy lifestyle all of your life, but I would never even think that, okay, well, it's whatever you're eating or putting in your body. I mean, it just sounds like you just said it was a fluke. You were, like you said that. And it's just
I think
bonkers to
so.
me, right? Yeah, that, and that people who do everything right in their lives as far as, they don't smoke, they don't drink, they eat, what works for them apparently, and that
Yeah.
they have a healthy lifestyle, then all of a sudden something like this happens. But then there's others out there who will smoke and eat, I don't know, bacon sandwiches every day and whatever. And then they,
Yeah.
live until 98 and never had a problem their whole life. That it always just drives me kind of not just kind of mental, just because it's just like, man, because I'm one of those people who try to do everything right. And I have a goal to live to be a centurion. And it just, stuff like this is always just makes it sits in the back of your head, just because, even though you are doing everything right, just
Yeah.
something just like that, this might come out of nowhere.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, I don't think anybody gets out of this life unscathed, right? You're going to get hit by lightning. You're going to get I was just interviewing an intern who told me he got bit by a shark. That's
Oh, yeah.
almost like his fun fact. And I thought, okay, so everyone's going to get something. We have to do our best to prevent that, right? We look both ways. We wear our seatbelt, we wear the helmets,
Sure.
and hopefully you do all the things you can with health. You watch what you put in your mouth. So my new book is called Your Healthy Cancer Comeback. There's a section there called Food That Helps versus Food That Hurts. And really, that's how you have to shop, and just know that the things you're putting in your mouth, either they're going to benefit you or they're going to do harm. And it doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but it really should be food for thought when you consume stuff. Am I hurting? It's different than just being overweight.
Yes.
And mind you, overweight will kill you eventually as well.
Yes.
um, Slightly overweight will just make you uncomfortable with yourself, but yeah, you can save your own life. And there's a lot of research that shows red meats and processed meats direct links to digestive cancers. Alcohol consumption damages your cells, makes you more prone to
Mhm.
cells going rogue and leading to cancer. So we do have some control. And I think people should just execute that control wherever they can.
Mm. And I know you have your master's in fitness and exercise, and
Yeah.
I guess I kinda already know the answer to this, but was part of your motivation for writing the books to help educate those who are not as educated in nutrition and living healthy lifestyles and how, how to better themselves for the better, you know?
Absolutely. So, the memoir was inspired by all the funny, wacky stuff. Believe it or not, cancer can be hilarious. And then we talked a lot about mental fortitude and my noisy cancer comeback. These next two books were specifically spawned from me hitting rock bottom. And I had done, even during chemo, I and all of my treatments, I continued to exercise as much as I could. I was experiencing such aggressive treatment that my body responded because it's human, and I withered away. And I remember I had lost 11% of my weight and 80% of my strength. I couldn't open water bottles anymore. I struggled to open some car doors. I really was, having a rough time. And as I looked in the mirror and thought, holy cow, look at what you've become, I knew exactly how to rebuild my body. Within that, disturbing sight of myself, I thought, well, okay, I'm going to get it back. And this is exactly how. And then I had an equally horrible feeling for my peers, for the cancer patients and cancer survivors that were also hitting rock bottom, but had no clue how to dig their way out of that hole.
Yeah.
How do you rebuild from nothing? Some people have so many parts amputated, so many surgeries, there's so much sickness, there's feeding tubes, there's infections, there's an endless amount of crap because of cancer, and you survive. Okay, well then what next? And so because of that, I thought, well, I have to help them. And so I put together my master's in exercise and sports sciences and my decades worth of experience and my cancer street cred, and I created these products to help the next wave of cancer patients and survivors. And so the new releases are Your Healthy Comeback, Cancer Comeback, Sick to Strong. That's the manual. It's a blueprint. It's everything. It's nutrition. It's
Nice.
exercise filled with hundreds of exercise photos and instructions for exercising. Regular exercises, standing, exercising in a chair. If you can't sit, here's things you can do in bed. Here's stretches to do in the shower, balance training, exercises to do when you're trapped in an exam room, because you get trapped in all sorts of exam rooms when you're going through cancer care. And then alongside that book is the Healthy Cancer Comeback Journal, which is a place to input all of your cancer details and your fears and your faith, and scoop about your friends and all the kindness you received and who's driving you up the wall. And then
Mhm.
the funny stuff. Because again, I think no matter what's going on in your life, you should look at the bright side and definitely the funny side. And what have you nicknamed your port? What have you nicknamed your tumor? What celebrities do you look like bald? So there's a whole bunch of prompts to help people, have that cathartic writing experience, and then hopefully have some laughs. And then the last half of the book is daily fitness logs and tracking your progress.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was your rock bottom moment, was that what you said when you were having trouble lifting car doors and opening up water bottles?
You know what? It actually was really profound when I went into the gym, and I was so excited to go exercise back in the gym. And again, I had been doing something the whole way as much as I could,
Right.
but I had finished with surgery, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go back in and exercise. And I took my bald head back into the gym, and I sat down on a machine, and I had set the pin for wherever I was pre-cancer, and I tried to push. I wouldn't budge.
Oh,
I
no.
lowered the pin, and I lowered it again. And what happens is I had to lower it 80%. I lost 80% of my strength. Oh, and for a girl who's obsessed with muscles, which I am, I mean, I don't want big bodybuilder muscles, but I just love muscles. I was really taken aback. I was weak, and to put a number on it was really alarming. That was my aha moment.
Yeah. Well, what's life like now? I know obviously have a great demeanor about yourself, and I know you're helping people out there, but I mean, is it still, you're still improving every day? Does it still sit in the back of your head? Like, I might get out of the shower one day and feel my underboob again. It might come back. What's it like?
So I am 100%. I might be 150%. I've accomplished a lot since finishing treatment. About a year or so after finishing chemo, I ran the Boston Marathon, which was pretty awesome. I've done a bunch of Spartans, and physically I'm great. I'm dinged up a little bit, right? So there's plenty of scars, and um, I'm working through those things. Radiation apparently leaves you sore for a long time. So I still feel like someone hit me in the rib cage with a bat. It doesn't limit me. I just feel it. And I actually just made some wonderful progress. Last week was the first time since before my surgery that I was able to do push-ups without pain. And
Nice.
I can't tell you how happy I was when I got down on the ground. I thought, oh, it doesn't hurt anymore. And so it's quite a few years out and I'm still making progress, but overall, I'm fantastic. And as far as mentally, I don't think about it at all. I
Good.
don't worry it's coming back. I feel like I'm done. I've checked that box. I am moving on. I'm leaving cancer in my dust. And I hope I never have to face it again. If I do, then I'll figure that out at that point. But I think I'm good.
Do you know who Dr. Lane Norton is by chance?
I do not.
He's a Tampa Bay guy, but he's one of these guys that will go down and read case studies and kind of talk about if this case study was talking about nutrition or fitness or whatever, like what they kind of did, but what they maybe should have done. And like,
Okay.
they are saying that you should never drink Diet Coke, but he's just like, well, this is how they tested it, which is probably not a different way, or there's probably a better way of testing it. He just kind of just doesn't make you think just because, oh, they say you shouldn't drink Diet Coke, just don't go drink Diet Coke just because whatever. He gives you like more information about whatever study so you don't have to. But he was talking about on a podcast, the power of suggestion and the placebo effect. And that, yeah, if you're kind of always thinking about, I guess maybe bad or negative things, that your body will kind of react to it rather than just thinking about positively where like, hey, I'm fine, I'm feeling good today, I'm strong, and your body will
Yeah.
react to that. But and he was just saying that it's not like you should go out there and just say, hey, I can go lift, boulders all day long. And I know I can, but there is some science to it, just thinking like, having these positive thoughts and your body's listening, and that it's just not very, what is the word? Hokey, I guess is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I definitely think a positive attitude and a spunky spirit definitely goes a long way and would serve you far better than someone looking at the doom and gloom from everything.
Yes, yes. But yeah, so I was just wondering if that's, if you find that, being very positive like you are, you just see it. I mean, you seems like you are. You just go down through life and you just have that great demeanor and you don't have to be that person who is just, woe is me, I guess.
Yeah. And, well, on the woe is me thing, anyone who feels like we might be describing you, know that you're bringing everybody else around down around you. You think about that person who shows up at work every day and they got to tell you, oh, I was in traffic and someone hit my car with their door and this person was that. And you just spread misery. That's a bad habit.
Mhm.
That's trying to get the wrong kind of attention. So change it. Instead, come in and even though you're grouchy because of whatever, talk about something positive that happened. It's a learned behavior, and people will like you more. People will invite you to more parties. People will be more
Yeah.
likely to give you a raise, give you a promotion. Good things come to those who are putting out good stuff. And yeah, I'm one of those people I think find a way, right? So I'm not perfect at all. And boy, am I super flawed. I'm super, super imperfect. And I'm okay with that. But yeah, I don't understand people who give up. I don't understand people who find excuses. I'm a find a way kind of girl. And I think when you're a find a way type of person, you typically find a way. I don't know if that's luck or manifestation or if it's just, pure will where you're going to move forward and figure it out. There's a lot of us who are committed to doing that, and things tend to work out that way. Things tend to work out if you are that way.
What do you think about manifestation? You believe in it?
Um, for lack of better word, I think so. I think you have to know what you want
Sure.
before you before you get it. Yeah. So I don't know if that's manifesting or setting your sights on something and chugga choo choo moving in that direction. But yeah, I believe if you want something and you're set out to do it, if you put in the work, you'll get there for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah, I think that's where, and I agree with you 100%. I think that's where it kind of gets a flawed perspective, is where people will say they want to be a person will say they want to be a rock star, but they really won't do anything to be a rock star. Just it's one of those that, if I think about it, the universal serve it or something like that. So if I keep saying it'll happen, but it's somewhere along the way, you have to be doing something. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you just said, get on the train and chug a choo choo or whatever it was. But and I think, yeah, like I said, just and then when people it doesn't happen for them, they don't really understand why, and they, sometimes maybe play the victim card or
Yeah.
is oh well, and they like to point fingers, I guess. So I guess that's what I was just asking, just that, yeah, yeah, just make sure that you thought that there has to be some type of work going on. It just doesn't get handed to you on a silver platter, which some things do. But
Correct. Correct. So I was lecturing at the University of Florida today, my alma mater, and they bring me in every semester to speak to their graduating seniors. That's right. Go Gators, go Gators. So I was talking to the students about creating a career and giving them some pointers, but it's relatable to my fitness people. As I always say, listen, tomorrow morning, get naked, go stand in front of the mirror.
mm,
Everything other than your height, you did that. So if you look at your body and you say, "Wow, you're in great shape," know that you're responsible for that. You're
right,
a grown up at this point. You have made good choices with your eating habits, and your exercise choices have been spot on. And if you look in the mirror and you're happy, you did that. If you look in the mirror and you're overweight and out of shape and there's lumps and bumps that you don't enjoy, you did that. You did that. You cannot blame your grandparents or your whatever. People aren't genetically obese. That's a 1 in a million percentile. Are people uncontrollably obese? So you have done the work to get yourself into whatever shape you're in. And so that is transferable to your career. I told these gators today, I said, if you succeed, well, you did that. And there might be people to thank along the way, but you did that. If you fail, know that it wasn't your gender. It's not because you're a girl or because you're this color or you're this religion. There
nice.
is a person of every race, religion, color, whatever, you name it, at the top of almost every game. Every game, there's a very diverse population. So they're doing it. If you're failing and you're pointing your finger at your nether regions, it's not because I have a vagina. No, it's because you weren't good enough. You didn't do the work. You didn't get the education. You didn't meet the right people. You didn't ask the right questions. You didn't show up early, stay late, be delightful. There's all of these things you have responsibility for. So your body is one. Take 100% control of your health. If you're just going to stay out of shape forever, fine. Just that's your choosing. Don't blame anybody.
Exactly.
And if you're going to be successful professionally, know that's your choosing. If you want it bad enough, you will figure out a way to find success in whatever area that means the most to you.
I hope that hits home with a bunch of people listening to this right now, just because that's something that it's, I mean, it's not easy, but it kind of is, just with people like yourself and with the amount of books and podcasts and YouTube
Mm.
and just education, you can educate yourself very easily in today's
Yeah.
time. If, like you just said, if you look in the mirror and you're not happy with something, you want to change something, you can start somewhere. Yeah, it might take a while. It's not going to happen. Take the red pill and it'll happen overnight, or the blue pill, whatever it
No.
is. But yeah, it's just like you said that perfectly there, and that was
Well,
badass.
well, thank you. And you know what? It's again, we talk about cancer. My life has not just been easy. I have not gone unscathed. I have had people tell me no. Now they told me no a lot more often when I was at the beginning of my career.
Sure.
Now I don't get a lot of no's. But yeah, I would never play the woman card. I mean, I'm a damn good professional. I'm a killer race announcer. My skills, my commitment to these athletes is surpassed by very few, if any. It has nothing to do with my lady parts. And if anyone's ever tried to hold me back, it's not been men going, "Oh, we don't want a girl on our team." It's been other women
Yeah.
trying to stab me in the back. And so,
That's
don't play your victim card of any sort. Just go on and be victorious, because you can do it. And I truly believe that we can all win. There is success just waiting for every last one of us. We just have to figure out where we want to be successful and do what it takes to make that happen.
huh, cool. And I want to switch
And
gears just for a minute. I know we're getting kind of short on time, but I just wanted to talk about Fitzness real quick. And when did that
yeah.
start? And just so everyone kind of knows all about that.
Yeah, so Fitzness, I incorporated at 20. I think I had a friend who was an attorney, and he said, "You need to incorporate your business. What do you want to call it?" I was like, "Well, I'm a fitness professional named Fitz, so it's got to be Fitzness." So I got
Works
that
out.
trademarked real fast, and yeah, my name is on the business, but Fitzness is really just about you. Is what can we do to help you live better and longer? And I don't support diets, pills, powders, weight loss supplements, and shakes and crap. And it's about watching what you put in your mouth and
Yeah.
exercising often and getting sleep and removing the cranky people. So my fitzness.com is jam packed with tons of free resources for everybody. So if you go to fitzness.com, snoop around, there's free videos, free recipes, free articles. All my books are on sale there. Every book sold at fitzness.com gets signed and it gets sent with a free gift and it gets sent in a pretty package. I have online courses and I don't know, tons of podcasts and interviews and news clips and blah, blah, blah fitness. I could blah, blah, blah you for the rest of your life and there would still be more content available.
Mm. So just to clarify, are you working with people one on one, or is this
No,
okay?
no, I don't do any individual coaching. Everything I do is meant for a mass audience.
I'm with you now.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you design it that way just because you thought you would help more people that way, or
Yeah. You know what? My first job on TV, I was about 20. And I had been teaching classes actually at UF in their student rec center, which I loved doing, loved it. And once I started hosting this TV show, Cardio Jam, strangers started approaching. And that was really impactful when a stranger never met before would say, "Are you Fitz? Yeah. I love your show. I do it every day. I've lost 17 pounds. I
nice?
love your show. I have no more back pain." And so I really was moved by being able to connect with people I had never met before. And I thought, well, if I continue working in mass media, what how many people can I help? And that's really what I'm out for. I'm out for mass impact. So I don't do the personal stuff or the small group stuff. I do again, corporations can hire me and sometimes they'll give me an executive leadership 20 people to talk to, but that's usually the smallest thing I do.
Yeah, I like that approach, and just because like I told you earlier in the podcast, I'm one of those CrossFit guys, and we basically teach group classes, and I don't like the. I have done the one-on-one stuff, but I don't. It's not for me. It's just not my style.
Yeah.
So when we teach group classes, I feel like I am getting more of myself out there, I guess, or the coaching, or I don't know. It feels better that I'm helping, 10 versus one person, I guess. But
I think those numbers matter. And there's definitely, I mean, someone's got to be doing the personal training, right?
yeah,
But there's so many fitness professionals, right? I think there's clients for everybody.
exactly. So, well, cool. We can take it home right there on that. But I know you've already kind of plugged some of yourself.
Yeah.
But if you want people to find you, or just anything you want to plug in general or whatever.
Yeah. So visit me at fitzness.com. That's Fitzness.com. And then I'm at Fitzness on all socials, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. And what I prefer is, if you follow, I promise quality content in return. But what I'd prefer is that you tell me you heard me on Chris's podcast and you'd like to say hello, because it would be way cooler to have friends than just followers.
Yes. Well, cool. Well, Fitz, thanks for being here. Any last messages you want to give out, or anybody that you think they need to know something? Or
No, you're spectacular, Chris. And I love your bald head.
thank you, thank you. I've been
Oh my gosh. It's awesome. It's so gorgeous.
man, I've been working on it for the last how old am I? 36, so like 12 years. So
I love it.
I'll become
It's
an expert.
very manly.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much. But you made my night. So, but anything, well, thanks again, and you're a badass, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, see you, folks.